What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm discussing how to create portrait videos in Final Cut Pro. I'm going to keep this video a little bit short and simple, but follow along by the steps that I take, and I'm sure you'll be able to create something similar. So first of all, I'm going to talk about filming in portrait mode. Obviously there's social media platforms out there that take a lot of portrait video, Instagram Reels, TikTok and Instagram Stories, but there's also a lot of other platforms that still use landscape, and it's always good to have the best of both worlds on some of those platforms. If I'm shooting something that I know is going to be full on portrait, I will shoot it in portrait mode in camera. I'll turn the camera aside and film everything in portrait. If I want something that is going to be landscape and then potentially they want it for stories, if that's a client, or if I want it for stories or I want to make a reel from it, then I'll be able to create that in post in Final Cut Pro, and that's what I'm going to show you today. So I've got a Final Cut Pro project open here. I'm just going to run through it. It is me doing some dialogue and talking about a video that I've recently shot. And I'm just going to go through some of the project files that you can do to create a landscape and portrait video. So first of all, I'm going to go to my event, which I've called Assets. I'm going to go Final, New and Project, or Command and N. And in there, we're just going to go Test Landscape 1. That's what we're going to do. In fact, we're going to go Test 1. And there you can see on the video I've got 4K and my resolution and my frame rate. Click OK, that will create a new project. And what I'm doing here is I'm just going to make a little sequence just to have something to go by. So maybe we put, we cut that one out. Let's make this one smaller. So I'm just going to transform this down so it's a smaller size. Maybe we put this in the bottom right hand corner, like so. That's cool. Let's also put this maybe smaller. So we're going to go over here. So we've kind of got, let's just go with that. It's a very long video. Let's just cut it down to there. It's about 30 seconds long. So we've got kind of a few little clips where they dot about. We can even move this one to the other side to make it a bit more interesting as well. So you can see I kind of jump about. Obviously we're very limited to what I'm using here, but just so we can get an idea for today's example. So that's about 30 seconds of video. I'm just gonna detach all the audio so we don't have any audio playback. I'm going to show you how to create a portrait video from what you've already made. So you've already spent time making a landscape video and a video that is landscape, and you want to make that same video but a portrait. Instead of you having to go through and recreate everything again, the Final Cut Pro is brilliant and it does it for you. So what you're going to do when you get to where your first project is, you're going to right click and you're going to go duplicate project as, and we're going to call that test 2. It's already done it for us. And where it says video, we're going to select vertical, and then we're going to put the resolution to 4K, frame rate is 25 frames. Now there is a little box next to vertical and it's a tick box and it says Smart Conform, and you want to make sure that's ticked because that there will then make sure that because I'm center of the image, it will put me center of image on the portrait. If I was perhaps over here on the left and we had all this kind of space here, it would still recognize that I'm on the left and put me center, because obviously portrait, you've got all of the length to play with but not the height, so it will put the center of the image of the landscape image in the center of the image on the portrait image. So let's just go Smart Conform and click OK, and that will do that. Obviously that will take a little bit longer if you're working with bigger projects, 12, 15, 20 minutes. I've done 30 seconds and it's done it. So now we can go up. You can see here we've got test 1, which is our first project, and we've got test 2, which is a portrait. You can see that. So if we click on that, you can then see by the preview that it is now a portrait image previewer, as opposed to test 1, which was a landscape. And you can see as we scroll through, it's kind of done a fairly good job of placing the clips where they kind of were. Obviously it's a bit of a bad example, but the principle is obviously the same. So that's kind of the first way to do it. Obviously I can adjust these as well. I can go into the transform panel and I can just move these about and put them actually where I want them to be. Maybe I want that to be off my face down here, but I want it to be more to the right. I can do that, that's not a problem. And each clip I can go through and tweak, no problem at all. But what about if I wanted to make something where it had 3 images from top, middle and bottom? I can do that as well. Let's take, for example, let's extend this out. I'm going to cut this here and I'm going to hit Option or Alt on my keyboard hold it down, and I'm going to drag up, and it will duplicate a track or a video track or an audio track. It duplicates whatever is selected, whether that's titles, graphics, etc. Little hint in there. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make all of these 3 landscape tracks in a portrait view. I like to make it that the middle track I see on my timeline is going to be the middle track, the top track on my timeline is the top track, and so on and so forth. So the first one I'm going to have to scale it down. I usually go to about 32, but it may change depending. And I like to put this to 0. So the position X is 0, position Y is 0, and my scale is about 32. You can play about with this, of course, depending on the size that you shot, etc. That's the top one. I'm going to do that on all of these. I'm going to make sure that all of these are set to 0 and the scale is set to 32. And then you're left with one video, but they're not, they're just on top of each other. So for this one at the top, I'm going to use the Y and I'm going to scroll this up. Now, I like to scroll it up, and I like to leave some blanks in between. So we're going to go with 1275, just round it up, make it nice and easy. And then the bottom track, I'm actually going to put down to -1275. And there we have, we've created 3 of the same video in 1, 2, and 3 in a portrait, which is brilliant because it allows more video clips to be seen and more video information to be put on the same page. Let's say I wanted to bring this clip in. What you could do here, let's just make this one black and white so maybe we can see the difference. I'm going to make that black and white, that black and white, and that's black and white. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 1, 2, and 3. You can see they're all black and white now. I can't remember where they're up to. They're all just going to be, let's delete that one just for the time being. So we're working here. So these 3 are the same clip, 1, 2, and 3 listed in a nice row. And then I'm going to do the same with these. But instead of having to put all those settings in again, I can copy and paste from the settings before. So the first clip there, I'm going to hit Command and C on my keyboard. And then I'm going to go to the clip next to it because I want that one at the top. I want that to have the same settings as the other one. So I'm going to hit Command, Shift, and V, and it will open up this panel. And it's video attributes and audio attributes. And the attributes are going to be copied. It says on there copied from 983, so the clip 983, and it's going to be pasted to the 983. Obviously, it's the same clip, but it's further down. It's a different one. So I'm just going to do that real quick, and it's put it up to the top, and you can see that is pretty much in line, and it's the black and white one as well. So we'll do that for the next size down. Command, Shift, and V, paste. You might need to align it sometimes. It doesn't always go, but you can put it, see that's done the bottom one there. So we can actually put that at the bottom, and we can bring these 2 back to the top. 1 and 2, get rid of that. So it's just that middle one now. So that's the middle one, so copy, and we're going to hit paste, and we're going to move that one over as well. Perfect, and then there you can see as we play it, 3 clips, different clips play. Obviously it's just me, it's difficult, but they're 3 clips. And you can do that so on with so many different clips. You can then obviously play about with it, you can play about with the position and stuff. Maybe you want the top clip to be half off, and maybe you want the bottom clip to be half off as well, and you can kind of line it up like that. That's kind of a cool little effect as well. If you wanted, obviously I like to have the gaps underneath the black showing through. I like to have that bit of a border. I think it makes it look very clean. If you didn't want that, then you can obviously push them a little bit closer together. Like I said, it's about playing with the position X and Y and the scale in the transform panel. But obviously, if I wanted something white or something a different color underneath, what I would do is I would go to my generators and I would grab a solid custom color, and I'll put that into my magnetic timeline. You have to lift these from the timeline, move these onto the blank, and then I can go up to the panel and I can select a colour, and obviously now that colour is going to be put behind the image, which works really well if you want some sort of funky colours behind the videos. Lift this from the timeline, we can drag that across, we can extend that, and then we've got yellow and yellow. We need to change the colour, let's go blue, and then as you see, as we go from the yellow background, it obviously changes to the blue. You can obviously speed this up, do different bits, different effects and stuff. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something and took something away from it. Give it a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. I'll see you soon.